Let's talk about it. Women with too many male friends, or just male friends, period. It's bad news. It's always been bad news. It always will be bad news. It's inviting insecurities into the relationship. Women hate to hear it, just lack of accountability as usual. They want to call you. They want to call you insecure. You're not insecure. That is perfectly normal not to want a bunch of men around your woman. That's normal. I mean, looking in today's society, like, everybody's sleeping with everybody, and then you're supposed to be insecure because you don't want a bunch of dudes around your woman. These type of women, you need to avoid them at all costs. Oh, I get along with men better. Yeah, a bunch of men that want to sleep with you. I bet you do. I bet you do get along a lot better with men. A lot of these women talking about they have a bunch of male friends. What percentage of those male friends have they slept with? Very rarely is the answer zero. Very rarely. So, you're asking for trouble. No man that values himself wants a woman that has a bunch of men around her all the time in her free time. Do you want to wonder like that? A man that values himself is never even going to put that wonder into his head. You know, that's not normal. That's not normal to. You add alcohol into the equation. That's not normal for women to go out with a bunch of guys. I mean, it's a scientific fact. If you put men and women together, they end up sleeping together. You know, job sites, schools, anywhere people spend a lot of time together, people end up sleeping together. It's just a scientific fact. It happens. And you men thinking my woman is above or immune to this, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Male friends is just insecurity. She is probably even doing that because she's insecure. She needs a bunch of attention. She needs a bunch of people around her, you know, telling her how pretty she is. Or a lot of women need a lot of women. They need to be around men just because they're so insecure. They need to feel like a lot of men want to sleep with her just for her own self-esteem. That fuels her mind. Like, oh, a lot of guys want to sleep with me. A lot of guys want to sleep with me, so I'm feeling fulfilled inside. More broken behavior from broken women. A woman shouldn't need a bunch of male friends. She shouldn't want a bunch of male friends. If a woman is ignorant enough to believe that her male friends don't want to sleep with her, you know, then she's too dumb to be your woman anyway. Stop giving in because she's cute. Stop, you know, going over and above and beyond for a woman who doesn't deserve it. And a woman who has a bunch of male friends needs to grow up. She needs to grow up. No man wants that. It's not cute. No real man who values himself is going to sit there and be like, oh, this woman I really like is going to the bar with 3 dudes and just her. She's going out, with her male friends. She has this male friend who's heterosexual, but she confides in him and talks to him every day, and oh, they're just buddies. You know, put a couple cocktails in the mix, and it happens all the time. You know, she'll be confiding to him about you, telling him about all the things she don't like about you. That becomes an easy transaction. You know, becomes an easy transition. They're already friends, they're already buddies, they're already talking, they already get along. It's only a matter of time before they sleep together. You'd be a dang fool to believe that her male friends are not trying to sleep with her. You will be a fool to believe that. All her male friends are trying to sleep with her. If they are heterosexual, they are trying to sleep with her. Every single one. They're just some weak men with weak energy that don't value themselves, and they're waiting around for it to be their turn. I've seen it a million times. They're just waiting for their turn, like little soft, weak men they are, just waiting in the wing for her to come around. A man that values himself, he's not waiting on a woman to finish up any relationships or any BS so he can get his bite of the apple. That's low value, weak energy from a weak man. She knows it. That's why he's friend zoned. That's exactly why he's friend zoned. That's why he's her male friend. He was a confident man with charisma and moxie. He'd be already tearing that up. A lot of these weak men that are in the friend zone, they've already slept with her once or twice, and she's like, oh, I don't want a relationship, but we can be friends. And they still hanging around. Those type of dudes, they be doing things for her. She can always call him for a favor. Weak men. She keeps them around. She keeps a bunch of weak men around. Now they're friend zoned and her friends. And you're supposed to be the one sleeping with her. And you believe or trust anything that she says when she's going out with people that she's already slept with or that want to sleep with her and hanging around. My favorite is when these dudes accept things like, oh, I just slept at his house on his couch. I went out with my friend and we were buzzed. I just slept on his couch and even if she did, I wouldn't believe her as far as I could see her. Absolutely not. I don't care. She's the most honest, trustworthy, church-going woman. I wouldn't care. Church girls are the worst anyway, but that's not the point. I'm not trusting any of that. You throw some cocktails and some other men into the mix, and you got a woman that she telling you this BS. She is not wife material. She ain't wife material. Not even close. Women that are wife material, they don't let a bunch of men have access to them. And it's not even just about how it looks. It's just how it is. That's an extremely bad look, but it's also, she doesn't want to taint the relationship she might have in the future with some dude who's just a friend. He's not going to be worth it to somebody when it comes to her losing somebody that she's really into or she wants to build a life with. She wants to build a life with a man. She got a bunch of male friends that doesn't work. And she knows it. So if she's really into you, she's not even going to go there. She's not going to go there. She's not going to... she might be just throwing men in your face because of her own low self-esteem. Happens all the time. I got all these male friends, so it seems like competition or any of this BS these women think are cute. It ain't cute. It ain't funny. You're lowering your value, sweetheart. Every time you bring up a male friend, every time you bring up a coworker, you think you're trying to make us jealous or, go harder for you because there's competition in the water. You lowering your value. Chunk, 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 chunk. Every time you bring up, and they love to bring up men and use their first name. Like a coworker or something. Like you all on a first name basis. Oh, that's just Tommy in the background. Ha 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 ha. Giggling away. Run from these type of women. Run, run, run. They think they're so wanted and cute and funny and throwing men in your face. I don't want to hear that friend BS. No real man who stands on principle wants to hear that he's just a friend BS. Yeah, every single one of her male friends that is heterosexual would sleep with her, or has slept with her, or wants to sleep with her. It's pretty much those three categories. It's not really much gray area, you know? You put men and women together. Since the dawn of time, they sleep together, and you supposed to hear, "Oh, he's just a friend. We spend all this time together. We spend all this time talking. He's just a coworker." Blah blah blah. You know, Don't even bring that stuff up. Don't be the type of woman who puts yourself in that situation. If you're dealing with a man you actually like, you actually want to build with, you know, women that have a bunch of male friends, huge red flag. Huge red flag. You know, women be like, "Oh, the man is insecure. He's not secure enough to handle me with all my male friends." All right. That's because, most smart men who value themselves know that a male friend is just, he's waiting his turn. That's it. He's waiting his turn. As soon as you hear that, or he hears that she's single or she going through some BS with her man, he right there. He's right there like a shark on a seal, ready to devour. He's sure gonna try. He's sure gonna try. Male friends. Okay. Okay. I referred to the other day. I was like, just like that fabulous song back in the day. I don't remember the name or exactly how it goes, but he's talking about, the only friends my woman have, the only people who should be able to call my woman are her family. Don't call my, if it's a man is calling her phone, it needs to be her cousin or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but the message has resonated, and it's so true. You shouldn't have a woman that has a bunch of men blowing her up. That's just him. That's just another guy. That's just another guy. Her phone's always popping, and a lot of it's dudes. And if it's a woman you just met, if this is a woman you just met, and her phone is constantly blowing up, and she's like, "Oh, this is just this guy or that guy or this guy," she craves attention. She's rubbing men in your face. She doesn't even have the respect to give you her time when you're with her. She's so enamored and got a million things going on with her phone. You need to run from these type of women. Got a bunch of men messaging her while you're with her. Huge red flag, fellas. Huge red flag. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. They think it's cute. They think it's going to make you want them more because they got a bunch of dudes around them. Nah, you should want them less. Matter of fact, you better see those red flags. See those red flags and run from them. It's weak energy. She testing you. Every time she brings up another man or brings up a male friend, she's testing you. you know, seeing what she can get away with, seeing if she can push the limits, you know. Y'all, couple months down the road, y'all in a relationship, she's got a bad attitude and, she wants to go out with her friends and she stays out all night. She's already lining up her excuses. I was with him. What? You can't complain about him. And honestly, you suckers, you weak men, you can't complain about him because you wasn't complaining about him and didn't uh, yield to the red flags when it first came out that she had male friends, when you first met her, and you let it slide. Now you have to let it slide forever because you can't 6 months, a year down the road, she's made it perfectly clear she has all these male friends. You can't just be like, oh, you can't have them anymore. Now I want to man up and say you can't have them anymore. Nah, don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. You can't do it. You can't know male friends at 2 years down the line when you take her serious, or a year, or 6 months, or 3 months. You know? That should red flag you out the situation day one, date one, date two. Because, you get to date two, she's going to show her real colors. She's going to show you, you're going to see if she's constantly on her phone, if her attention is away from you. And it's all, women these days have no problem sitting across the dinner table from you, entertaining other men on their phone. It happens all day, every day. You paying for the meal, you paying for the drinks, probably don't paid for the Uber. We got these simp dudes out here, these weak energy men. They're paying even for hair and nails and her outfit to go out. And paid for all that, and she's sitting across the table from you, texting away other men. Happens all the time. And then if you say something about it, you're controlling. If you even call her rude, then you're controlling or you're insecure. We live in a world today where everybody's sleeping with everybody. Faithfulness is on an all-time low. Promiscuousness, all-time high. Men and women. But these women will call you insecure if you get mad or don't want a woman that has a bunch of male friends, because you shouldn't get mad because you shouldn't even indulge into a woman that has a bunch of male friends. I don't care how pretty she is. Stop getting stuck on looks. Stop being so thirsty. The equation after the variable, You can't just expect her to act right and ditch all these male friends when you've put up with it for months, or put up with it after the first or couple dates, or once you've been intimate and you know her, you spent a little time with her, you've sat on the couch with her, and you can see her motion, how she acts. You see how she acts, and she one of them type of women that constantly has to be on her phone, constantly has to be entertaining other people. Run. When it's your time, she should be entertaining you, or at least your attention. I'm not saying she got to be a dancing clown or constantly satisfying you, but her attention should be on you. That's a lost art. Young men these days don't even get that. If you're spending time with a woman, her attention should be on you, not her phone, not her girls, not her social media. If she's on a date with you, y'all out and about, her attention should be on you, not just when she's ordering drinks or you're swiping your card. That's weak energy for weak men. The only reason women can get away with it is because so many men are doing it these days. just amazing with that divorce rate. 70% of divorces initiated by women. 70%. You know, that says a lot. That says to me that, you know, there's a lot more men heavily invested and emotionally invested in a marriage than women. There's a lot more men that are trying to fight for it, hang on to it, willing to work it out. 70%. It's a scary number if you're a man, especially if you're a man who has something to lose. You got your finances right. 70% of divorces initiated by women. And we're supposed to enter into a marriage with a woman that has a bunch of male friends? What? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's action for some very, very weak men. And men need to do better. Men need to do a lot better because we're accepting it. You let a woman call you weak. You'll let a woman call you, insecure. They'll throw all the insults at you if you dare question a male friend. But we live in a world where everybody's just banging everybody. But you're insecure if you have anything to say about all her male friends. Or you don't want to, if you just say out loud to the world, I don't want a woman that has a bunch of male friends. All of a sudden you're Mr. Chauvinistic, misogynistic, toxic, insecure, not a real man, spineless. They'll throw it all out there. Just because you don't want a woman with male friends, just like any sane man would. No sane man wants that. No man really wants that anyway with their woman. They just don't. Weak men put up with it, but no man wants it. That's what I'm talking about here. So many men putting up with this, putting up with that. You don't gotta put up with nothing. Be your own man. Have your own principles. You don't need to put up with anything. Nothing at all that is outside of your boundaries. Zero zip. Work on yourself. Multiple streams of income. The gym. You hit that gym as much as your body will handle. As some of us get older, we obviously can't go 7 days a week, and that's have a be sore forever. We'll be breaking down, but even if you're in your 40s, man, you still be at the gym 5 days a week. No problemo. Give these women something to want. Give them something to want. So they know, no woman that really wants you and is into you is going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm going out with these bunch of guys. That's energy and that's action for, a woman talking to a man she is not afraid to lose. Because if she's afraid to lose him and really wanted to build with him, really wanted something going on, she wouldn't even put herself in that situation to make you wonder for 1 second. She meets some rich athlete or some women fantasy or some entertainer or something like that. She ain't gonna be talking about, throwing men in his face. Oh, I'm going out with the guys. No, she won't. She won't, because she wouldn't want to risk that come up. She wouldn't want to risk that $1 million dude or that 6-figure dude. That women with a bunch of friends, that's for the janitor. When she starts dating the CEO, she doesn't dare come at him like that. And the fact of the matter is, no men should let her come like that. None. You know, that janitor needs to have the same moral principles. Matter of fact, he probably needs to have more. He needs to have more principles because, you know, that CEO, he might have the jet, the money, he can take her on vacations, all that garbage that she likes. You know, you got to respect yourself, even the less you have. Or you ain't never going to have more because the goal is to always have more. The goal is to have more. So you got to respect yourself. You know, you ain't respecting yourself entertaining women. They have a bunch of male friends. You're just not. No. Letting them talk crazy to you. And I mean, I'm not talking even about loud and stuff like that or rude. I'm talking about crazy. Like, there's no way you should take a woman serious who's like, oh, I'm going to the club with this guy. I'm going to the bar with this guy. I'm going to eat with this guy. I'm going to appetizers with that guy. You know, Tuesday tacos. I'm going to with this guy that's just my friend. No, no, no. She's just letting you know she's a low quality woman that is beneath you, beneath any man who respects himself. You know, she's going to happy hour with her male friends that are heterosexual, then, you know, she's single for one. She's not your woman. You could be dating and know she's not your woman, but you know for sure she's not your woman. You know, if you got a wife or someone you in a long-term relationship like that, you know, you're in a long-term relationship, you need to leave her. If you got a wife that's acting like that, got a bunch of male friends, I don't even have any advice for you. I just say I feel bad for you because you're locked in. You're locked in. She got you. She can sleep with one of those male friends tonight. You get mad about it. She'll leave you, take your house. She can move him in. You know, that male friend that she cheats with, you catch her. Now they living in your house and you're paying her alimony and child support and all the other men breaking financial situations that can happen from just it starting with a man not saying no. I'm not gonna deal with a woman that has a bunch of male friends. Matter of fact, my last segment was just all about saying no to women. Say no for your sake, for your finances' sake, for your self respect, for your dignity. Say no. N-O. It's not hard. It ain't hard. Say no. I don't want to. Why would you even want to talk to a woman and throw yourself in that swamp mess of a bunch of other dudes that she has on her roster, her team that, you know, in her phone that she calls friends? You know, you better than that. Be better than that. Men will be like, well, I don't, you know, I'm not that good looking. You know, I'm not this. I'm not that. You know, moxie, self confidence, charisma, and your finances right and your body tight. You know, if you ain't that, get your butt in the gym. You know, self confidence. And the gym is a self confidence builder, but a man can have self confidence and be 400 pounds and get women. Self confidence, you know, moxie, you know, those are charisma. Those are lady killers. You add your finances right to that, you don't gotta look like nothing. Women just gravitate to that mess. They love it. Be a man amongst men. You know, don't put up with the BS from women or men. But if you chasing a woman who's got a bunch of male friends, you're lost. You spending money on a woman who's got a bunch of male friends, you're lost. Be better. You know? Do better. And I mean do better, I mean do for yourself. You know, be the best man you can be. Be the best man you can be. Put all that energy you're putting into that low class woman, put it right into yourself. Put it into your finances. Put it into your bank account. Put it into the gym. Drink water. I say it every day. Drink water. Drink water. You want to improve your looks, start with a, complete hydration. Look at, you see side by side pictures of people who just drank nothing but water, a gallon of water a day for a month, and you side by side picture. Do it for yourself. Look how much better you look. It's amazing what water does for your looks. The gym. Drink water. Go to the gym. Keep your mind on your money. Keep your mind on your money. Stay focused. You over here wondering about all her male friends, all these other men she's surrounding herself and entertaining that she calls just friends. You can't have your mind on your money, wondering about what she's doing. Stop even falling for these types. Stop falling for these types. I see it all the time. Men falling for these women, they surrounded with a bunch of men. Now the man's mind is twisted. He's always wondering. He's always thinking. It's always in the back of his head when the only thing should be in the back of his head is how I can make my next dollar. You make enough of them dollars, you ain't got to worry about these type of women at all, because you're going to be on a new grade of women. You're going to be leveling up. And even if there are these type of women, they're going to know. They're going to know dang well they cannot come at you like that. They can't come at you like that. All that nonsense with a bunch of other masculine energy men around them, and you're supposed to just take it on the chin. Nah, sweetheart, we ain't doing that. I wish these men would knock it off. It's not normal. It's not normal for a woman to have a bunch of male friends. That's just how I am. I've always got along with men better. I done heard it all. Yeah. Slept with half of them. Sometimes these women have slept with all their male friends. Like she just hangs out with a pack of men she slept with. I've seen it. They will just hang out with an entire pack of men she slept with. Or a pack of men, and, she slept with 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5. 1 is too many. Her being in that situation is too much. You're chasing, you're doing anything for a woman who has a bunch of male friends. You lost. You lost in the sauce. Be better. Have self-respect. Love yourself. In this day and age, loving yourself, it's so underrated. Because they want men to tolerate everything. We're expected to tolerate everything. We're expected to tolerate male friends. We're supposed to tolerate her being broke. We're supposed to tolerate her bad attitude. We're supposed to tolerate her, barely even being able to take care of a kid. We're supposed to tolerate kids from other relationships. And if we don't, we're not real men, and it's all just a bunch of real BS. We don't have to tolerate nothing. Don't tolerate anything. Stop tolerating garbage. See, we got all these men out here that have tolerated so much garbage. Now women think it's natural. Women think it's the natural way to be. If a man ain't tolerating all her mess, her garbage, ain't cleaning up her life, then he ain't a real man. He's not a man that's on her level. It's just all negativity, BS, and it's just feeding the beast. The beast is a bunch of enabling men and begging, panhandling women. Woman be drop dead gorgeous, and she'd be a beggar, a panhandler, a bum. Got 20 dudes running behind her, willing to do her beck and call. Get out of here. Get out of here. Don't be a. She got 20 men running behind her. Don't be the 21st. She got 3 men running behind her. Don't be the 4th. Matter of fact, if she has 1 man running behind her, 1 male friend, unless it's family or, he's GAY, it's only a matter of time before they sleep together or they already have slept together, and now your woman is hanging out all the time with somebody she done already slept with. Well, that's weak energy if you're accepting that. That's weak energy. We need men to start bossing up again, not putting up with crap, putting their foot down, saying no. Our grandfathers didn't put up with none of that crap. Woman had to cook, she had to clean, she had to take care of the kids. And I'm not saying a woman should do that for some loser bum man. But if a man is rock solid and holding it down, taking care of the house, making sure everybody's good, you dang right I think he deserves that, and that's the way it should be. All this feminine energy, I don't know if they put something in the water, but I was raised, I didn't have a father figure when I was raised, but I still had a brain. I still had a flipping brain. I still had enough sense to being able to tell if I was being used. I had enough sense to tell if, somebody really likes me or they just keep asking for things. Learn to say no, fellas. You ain't gotta do squat for that girl. You ain't gotta do nothing. You're not obligated to do nothing. You shouldn't be doing anything if she ain't your wife. If you ain't been in a long-term relationship for a few years, you shouldn't be doing nothing. Why would you? Why would you? It's not your responsibility. Got a legion of men saving these broads right now, saving these women. And they ain't got a lick of flipping respect for these men. All these men catering to their needs, paying their bills, paying their phone bill, paying their light bill, paying their rent, paying their car note. I mean, the list goes on and on about what all these sucker dudes are doing. All these weak energy men. Stop it. Stop it. You're poisoning the whole reserve of water for everybody. You're making us all look bad. And now you're making us all look bad, you're making us all look weak, and you're making things, be expected that no man should have to do. It's not your job to pay for her child care. It ain't. It's not your job to get that tire fixed on her car. It's just not. Tell her to call one of her male friends. That's another one. The minute she can't get a hold of you, be like, oh, Larry came and did it because I couldn't get a hold of you. Well, Larry can have your butt. Couldn't be patient. You couldn't wait on me, Shouldn't even be asking me for anything anyway. I don't know you like that. But if Larry wants to be that sucker, he can be that sucker. Not me. Better him than me. These women are digging real hard into these men's bank account, and they don't even deserve anything. They don't have a lick of self-respect. They have nothing to offer. These women have nothing to offer, and then they have a bunch of male friends. Like, what is that about? And you're gonna accept that? You're gonna be like, oh, that's the type of woman, you know, I want to bring into my financial world, share my finances with. That's the type of woman, I want to have kids with. That's the type of woman I want raising my kids. Nope. Nope. You shouldn't want any of that garbage. I mean, you shouldn't want any of that, you know? She shouldn't even, men, as heterosexual men, can we have, you know, a bunch of female friends and she has to look the other way? You know, you gonna get a brick thrown through your window. You try to have a bunch of female friends as a man, she gonna be not pounding on your door uninvited. Women are way insecure, way insecure. They could never put up with the female just friend thing. Let a man have one female friend, it'll irk the crap out of her. It'll be like a hangnail she can't get. She's gonna pick at it till it's a scab, and she's gonna pick at it until it's a wound, and then she's gonna blow up on your ass. She's gonna have all these different scenarios in her head. It's gonna be all bad. I'm not encouraging men to go that route because it doesn't work out. You can't just sit here and tell some woman over and over, I'm just hanging out with my heterosexual female friend. It doesn't work out. But women expect us to tolerate that nonsense. They expect us to tolerate that nonsense and a laundry list of other nonsense. Obligations, nonsense, BS, just goes on and on and on. Male friends is a number one red flag that she gonna be that type of woman. A bunch of male friends, red flag. Drinks too much, red flag. Has to go out all the time, red flag. Thirst trap pictures, red flag. You know, those are women who need a bunch of attention from other men just to feel good about themselves. There's a word for that. They're called broken. It's a bunch of broken women with a bunch of delusional expectations who don't want to take a lick of accountability for their actions. Just none. Because whether they want to admit it or not, having a bunch of male friends lingering around all the time, that's crappy behavior. That's crappy behavior that no man that values himself is going to put up with. He shouldn't put up with it. I'm here encouraging men not to put up with it. Don't put up with it. Why should you? Why would you? Don't do it. There's women that serve a certain purpose. All men have needs that need to be met. And I understand that. We all do. And there's a certain type of women for that. And it's probably these type. The ones that have a bunch of male friends. But I'm talking about wife material, long-term relationship material, somebody that you have to have around you that you trust. And these ain't them. These women who got a bunch of male friends, you'd be a fool to trust them. I said I wouldn't trust them as far as I can see them, and I meant it. And that's the truth, because once they're out of your sight, there ain't no telling what they're doing with these male friends that, a lot of times they've already slept with. A lot of times, most of the time, if they're heterosexual men, they want to sleep with her. They're just weak men who are waiting in line. You want all that weak energy around your woman? Even if you tell a woman that, she'll get masculine on you real quick, calling you names, calling you insecure. Don't put up with it. Don't put up with it. It's a huge red flag. I can't reiterate enough how big of a red flag this is for a man if this is a woman that you want to build with, spend your life with, wife up, you know, because they're not wife material, and I'm trying to tell y'all. They aren't wife material, and they're letting you know from the jump. I got a bunch of male friends. I'm friends with him. I'm friends with him. You know, don't do it. Don't do it. You're setting yourself up for failure believing this BS or allowing this BS. I said believing because you shouldn't believe a word out her mouth if she got a bunch of male friends that she running around with, going out with. You know, you shouldn't believe a dang word out of her mouth. So, take heed, listen up. You know, that's only the weakest, lowest energy men would put up with that. And don't be one of these guys. You're ruining it for all of us. Don't be one of these guys who puts up with a woman with a bunch of friends. You know, she's got a bunch of male friends. Run. She's got a bunch of male friends. Block her. You know, a man that values himself, he shouldn't be competing for no woman's affection with another man. Either she wants to be next to you or she doesn't. If she doesn't, she ain't the one for you. Because when a woman's into you, then she don't want to do nothing but lay up under you. When a woman's really into you, she's going to make time for you. She's never too busy for you. You know, of course, if she's at work, you know. But, you know, she always has time to text you back. You know, a woman who's into you, you know, she's not making excuses not to be next to you. She's trying to find ways to be next to you. You know, she wants to be under you. She lay up under you watching Netflix or all day. Literally all day. If she's into you. She's never too busy for the man she's into. Never. Never, never. You know, if she's into you, she'll literally wake up next to you, lay there in bed next to you while y'all use these food apps to order meals and lay in the bed and watch TV all day. You know, I'm not saying be that guy more than a day, you know, because men should have things to do. We should be busting our hump at the gym. We should be working on our finances. We should be building our businesses, building our empire, building our kingdom. But I'm just saying, if a woman is into you, she ain't never too busy. She ain't got too much on her plate for you. And if she's telling you she's too busy to even text you back, block her. No woman who always has her dang phone in her hand is too busy to text you back. That's the type of talk for the guys that she is not into. So just admit to yourself she's not into you. She's got her phone in her hand 24/7, but all of a sudden she's too busy to text you back. You know? Well, my life's too valuable to have you in it. You can't even text me back in a timely manner. You know, if a woman's really into you, she gonna have her phone on blast. She's gonna have it loud, even when she's asleep. She can be, whoa, he needs some. Oh, he wants to get in touch with me. Let me wake up and make sure he knows I'm readily available. You know, that too busy. Too busy. Nobody's too busy when it's somebody they're into. And as a man, if you're really into a woman, she drop dead gorgeous. You can't wait to see her. All that good stuff. You sure gonna make time for her? Don't you want somebody who feels that same way for you? You know, start thinking of yourself as a prize, but you gotta be the prize before you can start thinking of yourself as a prize. You gotta be that prize to yourself. Multiple streams of income. Multiple streams of income. Get your body right. A man with his money right and his body tight, we ain't got no problem finding a woman. A good woman. because we respect ourselves. And it's going to gravitate women who respect you because you're not going to have a bunch of boundaries that are easily pushed over. You're going to stand strong. You're going to be a man. You're going to stand for something. You know, as soon as that man drops all his boundaries for some do nothing, nothing to offer, bum begging, panhandling woman who's asking for something, there goes the respect you have for yourself and she has for you. You know, just get it out your life. You know, it's like cleaning your room. Clean out your life with all these garbage people, these garbage women, these garbage friends. A lot of times it could be garbage family members. Clean out your life. If they ain't bringing you peace, happiness, money, laughter, get them out your life. I ain't just talking about women. Focus on you. Be a better you. That should be the only thing you're really worried about as a man, is being better than you were the next day. You know? Do those extra sets at the gym. Do that cardio. You know, I highly encourage all men to drink water. And all men, you know, we like to look good too. Drink water. Your whole face will look better. Don't stop all that drinking beer because you're bored. Now you got a puffy face and a puffy belly, and you sitting there looking at TV, looking at social media. You seen all these type of women you can't get. You some greasy, puffy faced, beer belly, do nothing man. You know, no high value woman should want that. You gotta be something that, you gotta offer something that they want before you can start even making demands like, I don't want a woman that doesn't have a bunch of male friends. You gotta be that man that can do that can say that. You can't have nothing to offer and then be preaching that what you don't want. You know, if you're that guy, you're gonna be lucky for what you can get. Just like a woman who let herself go, she gotta be lucky for what she can get before she die alone. Goes for men too. You drank yourself sloppy and you barely shave. You dress like a slob, and you know, well, the only time you're gonna be around high quality women is when you're looking at them through a screen. They don't find. Can you blame them? A woman that keeps herself up, she's in the gym, she's maintaining her body, she's drinking the water. She's keeping herself up to be appealing to the eye, which is, who anybody says that's not important, it's huge. Men are so superficial. Men are shallow, we're superficial, all that stuff. Give us a beautiful woman, a hearty meal, make sure a woman can take good care of our kids, make sure our kids are happy. That's all we need. It starts with setting boundaries on these women so they can't mess with your head or mess with your energy or mess with your flow, whatever you want to call it, when you're better in yourself. Some of these women are out here helping men be the best version of themselves. And then we got other men saying, oh, there's no good women. You saying there's no good women, you ain't a good dude. There's lots of good women. And there's lots of women who will be good to a man who deserves it. But you think they should give their time of day to a man who doesn't? I can't encourage that. I'm encouraging men to do the same thing. I'm sitting here all day encouraging men not to be supporting these bum women. So I can't be a hypocrite myself and be like, I think these women should just, give in to a man who ain't got his stuff together. She lost too. She's in there falling around, you know, doing things for a man who clearly has no ambition, and she's just as lost as he is. There's nothing wrong with a woman dating a man who doesn't have his money right yet, but he better have a plan, he better have ambition, he better have something going on for himself, or, yeah, she is dumb, you know? She's just as dumb as he is for not having any ambition. Like, isn't that like what a man should do is have ambition? You know, you want to hire quality women, have some ambition. Have some ambition. Women think that is so sexy. They can't get enough of it. Have so much ambition you don't have time for her. They really love that. You gotta squeeze her in because you got so much going on. You're so busy building your finances, your empire, your body into what you want it to be that you ain't barely got time for her. So I'm saying she needs to squeeze into your little plan. Your plan doesn't revolve around her, doesn't stop for her. None of that. It's your plan, your plans, multiple streams of income. You should be bossing up in as many different ways as you can. And if that woman doesn't fit in, she's either doing two things: she's helping you or she's hurting you. There's no in between. There's no in between, fellas. Choose wisely when you're choosing a wife. 70% of divorces initiated by women. Choose wisely. And a woman that has a lot of friends, that's not choosing wisely. You know, she has too many female friends and male friends, you know. Female friends are just as toxic. They want to take everything a happy woman has. So misery loves company. They're going to drag her down. They will. They love it. She happy as heck with a man. They'll make sure to try to make sure to sabotage that. They do it every time. Doesn't even take a bunch of friends. But if you're trying to wife up or marry or have a serious relationship with a woman who has a bunch of male friends, like, I just don't get how any man would think that's a good idea. If she's telling you, oh, that's just my male friend, you know, don't even fight with her. Just block her, run. Don't talk to her anymore because as soon as you bring up the issue, you're going to be called insecure. You're going to be called names. You're going to be called not a real man. A real man could handle it. A real man would trust me. I don't trust you. You crazy? Everybody out here is banging everybody, and you want me to trust you just off word, and I just met you about a bunch of dudes that you're always hanging out with, that are always blowing up your phone, you're always chatting with? Nope. I don't even care if you're not sleeping with them. I ain't trusting no woman. I wouldn't in that situation or person, you know. That's ridiculous. A woman would never trust a man in that situation. Never. Flip the script, 180 it. I say women hate it. They hate to be treated like a man, but they always want equality. You know, a woman can tell her dude, oh, I got male friends. You know, I just slept on Lewis's couch tonight. You know, it was no big deal. He's just my friend. He's just my buddy. You know, let a man have a girlfriend be like, oh, I'm just going out with Kim tonight. You know, oh, we got a real buzz, and I ended up just sleeping on her couch. She ain't gonna believe that. We all know she's not gonna believe that. There's just more things that we're supposed to just accept and take on the chin. But if we dare question them about it, then we're insecure. But they want equality. But they want equality they want equality in the divorce, and that's it. All the feminism, I say it all the time. All the feminism, All the equality, it goes out the door as soon as you treat a woman like a man. Stand at that door and wait for her to open it for you. Stare at that check when it comes for dinner and just look like it ain't none of your business. Just let's sit there and look at the check like, oh, when you gonna pay it? You know. Tire blows out on the interstate. Just look at her like, hey, aren't you gonna get that? We shouldn't want to treat a woman like a man, and a woman shouldn't want to be treated like a man. And they hate it, but they say they want equality, so give them a dose of equality. You know, they say they want equality. They don't want equality in child custody court, that's for sure. They don't want equality when there's you get in a fight and she done scratched you all up. The police come. She doesn't want equality then. She gonna play victim so flippin' fast. You know? Think you're gonna go to jail or she's gonna go to jail? I'm gonna put my money on the man 99.9% of the time. Literally, the only time the man ain't gonna go to jail is if he's like unconscious and needs to be rushed away in the ambulance. All the other times, it's a wrap. There ain't. That's real cute. They say they want equality, but it goes right out the door every single time you treat them like a man. They hate it. They won't put up with it. But they want equality. They want equality during the divorce when they're taking all your crap. And you can avoid this by just simply saying no, by putting your foot down when you first meet them, not being that sucker. Not being that dude who puts up with anything and everything just because, just because she's cute, just because she's thick, just because she's got large breasts or all the other superficial things men love. They got us goo goo and gaga and falling head over heels over some do nothing, have nothing, nothing to offer but her body woman. Needs to end. It's being messed up for all men by these weak men because they're putting up with it. They're doing it. They're doing it. They have literally a site where these OF models just get men to pay just to message them. I've spoke upon it before. It's insanity. If you're paying just to message a woman, step back. Reevaluate your entire life. Reevaluate your entire life because you're lost. You're lost bad, brother. There's no way you should be spending your hard-earned money sending these women a dime. There's no way you should be spending your hard-earned money to message a woman. Just to message a woman? You think a woman that is accepting money for you just to talk to her and message her, and I don't know, talking, I shouldn't even say talking because it's just messages. Talking is a vocal thing, and this isn't a vocal thing. This is just messaging. This is just strictly messaging. You gotta pay this woman just to message her, and you think she respects you or likes you or you're even friends with her? Really? Is that how far gone masculinity and manhood and self-respect is? It's gone. Once you're paying a woman just to message her, like, your dignity is out the door. You wiped your own behind with your dignity. Paying any of these women's bills, car notes, rent, and she ain't your woman. She got a bunch of male friends. She calling you only when she needs something. Your dignity is gone. You're not a man anymore. Like, it's a wrap. Like, get your life together. Be better. Don't you want to be better for yourself? Don't you want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, you know, I'd rather have nobody than somebody using me? You want to marry somebody who's using you? You want to have the illusion of a healthy relationship with somebody that you have to buy their time? You have to spend money. You have to give them money to get their hair. And every time you see them, you got to get their hair done, their nails done, their lashes, all that other trash. If she's a grown woman, she should be doing on her own. Now it's your responsibility. It's not. It's not your responsibility at all. Don't do it. Stop doing it. Just don't do it. You know? Say no. Say no. The power of saying no to these women. It's undefeated. Yeah. She has a bunch of male friends. Run. Run. These not the type of women you want as wife material. No man should have to wonder about his wife. That's just unnecessary energy. And just unnecessary BS. It's unnecessary energy. It's unnecessary insecurities that's just being invited into the relationship, and you don't want that with somebody you consider wifey. Rather be alone and not wondering. There's peace in that. There ain't no peace in a woman who's always out with her male friends. There's just not. It's not. She got male friends. You think she ain't slept with them, made out with them, other forms of intimacy with them. You bet your buns she has. If you believe in otherwise, I got some magic beans for sale as well that you might be interested in, because that's how dumb you sound. You sound dumb as a box of rocks believing a woman or what she says she has or hasn't done with a bunch of male friends or a male friend. A woman with a bunch of male friends, you could just cross her off the list, block her, run. It's not worth it. It's a headache. It's a headache waiting to happen. And if she respected herself and respected you, she wouldn't even come at you like that. She wouldn't even be around you like that or be mentioning that. So, I'm going to take a break. Thank you for the people who listen. Stop accepting these women's bad behavior and accepting every little thing is out of bounds. Because having a bunch of male friends is out of bounds for a man who's looking for a real solid one, a wife. Don't accept it. It's nothing but trouble.